Hello, everybody. You're tuned in to another episode of the Couch GMs podcast, episode 200. The three Musketeers are here: George Kerth, Tyler Snyder, Cody Roadcap. It is Saturday, February 10th, 2024, as we're ready for not only a big episode with episode 200, but to preview the Super Bowl. Guys,
the big game. No copyright. The big game.
I'm pretty sure if they clicked on this episode, they already saw the word Super Bowl. So we're already in trouble. It's over.
Tyler's like, what did I walk into? Welcome to the show.
I feel like there's an inside joke that I'm missing.
Last year, how he called it the Superb Owl.
NFL is really particular about how this is a great start to the podcast, but they're really particular about how people use the word Super Bowl. As someone who works in local TV, so I always think it's funny that we have to call everything the big game. So,
because they're totally gonna come at us and sue us. So this might be the end you're gonna hear of us, because we're going off the deep end, getting sued by the NFL. But it's been a good run. We got 200 strong. Just
spending Tyler's money. That's what we're doing.
We're doing a lot of things.
I haven't won anything. So
Tyler's gonna lose money by getting sued by the NFL, and we're gonna spend more of his money on the way out. So this is gonna be a great episode.
Thanks, guys.
If we are back next week, we're going to be back on Wednesday to recap the Super Bowl a little earlier in the week. Make sure you follow us at the Couch GMs on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok to get even more than you do from the show here. And as always, feel free to send us a DM with any fantasy questions, betting questions, settle some arguments with your friends, whatever. We got your back. All right, guys, a couple things to recap. Why don't we sit back, relax, and chat? I know a lot of us are not super thrilled with some of the winners of the NFL awards, but I figured I would run them all down and we can have a quick discussion if you would like. So we did have NFL awards on Thursday. The winners, MVP does go to Lamar Jackson, Offensive Player of the Year to Christian McCaffrey. Defensive Player of the Year was won by Myles Garrett. Offensive Rookie of the Year, CJ Stroud, and then his Texans teammate Will Anderson won Defensive Rookie of the Year. Coach of the Year goes to Browns coach Kevin Stefanski. And Comeback Player of the Year to old man sleep on the bench, Joe Flacco. Any thoughts on any of these award winners?
So since Tyler's going to drink his pickle juice, I'll jump right in here.
Episode 200, and the people finally know what's in the cup.
There you go. Spoiler. But I think it's the first time that they've had back-to-back same team win rookie offense and defense. We saw the Jets do it last year, and then we saw the Texans do it this year. And then the big surprise, kind of, was the Comeback Player of the Year, Joe Flacco win. But they apparently changed up how they do the voting. It's a point system, so first place gets so many, second place gets so many, and then third place gets so many. And DeMar Hamlin actually had the most first place votes, but Joe Flacco had the more cumulative number of votes. So Flacco takes home the victory, and probably the biggest surprise of the night.
Probably the only surprise of the night.
I mean, I was surprised that only two people got a vote for MVP. It was 49-1 for Lamar Jackson. Like, CMC couldn't even get a single vote. Like, that was
shocking.
You know who else doesn't have an MVP vote? Russell Wilson.
Nice.
Or Derrick Henry.
Try that one in here at least once.
It's fine.
Man, all these 2,000-yard running back seasons, record-breaking wide receiver seasons, and we haven't seen a non-quarterback MVP, and it seems like a decade and a half.
Adrian Peterson, I think, was the last one in 2012 or 2013, something like that. So about 10 years.
Did he win MVP?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there we go. Still, it's too few and far between, for sure. That's why I figured we weren't going to talk much about that one, because it should have been CMC. But anyway, I am surprised also that Joe Flacco won comeback, but it makes sense when you talk about the scoring system. I think the only other time that came in play is Jalen Carter and Will Anderson tied for Defensive Rookie of the Year, if I saw correctly, but Will Anderson had one or two extra first place votes, and that was the tiebreaker that got him and Stroud to have that 2 in a row from the same team that Cody talked about.
Yeah, man. I think that's pretty much, we talked all awards last week, so not too many surprises like you mentioned. So just a few other notes as we start to look into next season. Amazon the home of Thursday Night Football, is getting a exclusive playoff game next season. So the playoffs exclusives to streaming networks aren't going anywhere. Opening weekend in 2024-2025 season, we'll have a Thursday night game between the Super Bowl winner and somebody. And then Friday night, we get back-to-back with the Eagles hosting a game in Brazil to open the season. George, as an Eagles fan, what are your thoughts on that?
NFC gets the extra home game, so obviously you're hoping for the extra home game, but I've heard there's a pretty big following for the Eagles in Brazil, so I'm cool with that. And it's nice that I don't know what their viewership's going to be on a Friday night in September or whatever, but it's nice that if they're going to make teams travel, they're kind of giving them a mini bye, having them play on Friday and then probably won't play till the next Sunday. So smart move by the NFL if they're going to do this, to find a way to work extra time into the schedule. And it's going to build off of the hype of the opening game on Thursday. So I think it was a good placement for them.
Do you like them going to Brazil, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the NFL continuing to push international. Interested to see where they go next year. I think they're just going to keep traveling around the world doing international games. I think London is slated for like 12 games a year now. All Jags home games.
It's funny that you talked about where they're going next year, because they announced that Madrid, Spain is getting a regular season game in 2025. So add that on to the Europe docket. I think Germany's still getting games. London is, like you said. Now we're going to Spain as well.
Woo!
You West Coasters, just start getting up every Sunday at 6:30 to watch some football.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm on the outlier here. I'm never thrilled about the international games. I mean, I'm sure it's really cool for those countries. But I mean, it's kind of throws a wrench in things here. It's American football. I mean, I like to not have to wake up extra early on Sunday to be able to watch my favorite team. But I'm sure it is really cool for the international folks out there. Maybe this is the turning point they need for those countries to get their own football league and keep the sport of football growing.
So I know it's hard to do on a Sunday with having to compete with other things, and it's hard to do in Europe with the time zone changes. But do you like it better when it's like another primetime game, like when they had the Mexico City game as Monday Night Football, or like the Friday opener next year in Brazil? Do you like that better than the early morning Sunday?
No, no. If we're gonna have to do an international game, I'd rather just do it early on a Sunday. Um, and I'd rather it be one of the games that would be on Thursday, because typically Thursday night football is where you're like, okay, these guys don't have a primetime game this year. Let's throw them on Thursday where nobody cares. So if we have more like, I don't know, Raiders Jets games, sure, throw them international, throw them at 9:30, and I'll debate if I want to wake up early enough to watch it instead of having it as a primetime game.
I did not realize your hatred for the international slate.
I don't want to
You're
say
go-
hatred. It's just, I don't know.
You're really going
I'm
to hate
not
when there's a
thrilled
whole
about it.
division over there, and we have games every day or every week.
I mean,
They
probably.
might actually work those more into the 1 o'clock window, like they've done in the past, actually, with international games, but it ends up being like a prime time game over there. So if there ends up being a division over there, I feel like a lot more times they'll just be playing prime time in Europe, but 1 o'clock window here.
I guess we'll have to wait and see. But how about we stop
mean,
talking? Oh,
Well, you also
wanna
talk
jump in?
about the East Coast team has to travel west, and that's really hard on them, so they're going to lose. How about players traveling overseas? That's just, it's not easy on the body.
Well, yeah, especially hard if you do have a team that's based over there. Like they're eventually going to have to play a West Coast team. So yeah, add the East Coast already time zone jump plus 3 more hours. It is definitely tough, and that's why I don't know if they're ever going to get a team or a division over there. But
I
it's
mean,
tough enough having teams go over
it's
to.
just like if you take New York to Seattle to New York to London, they're basically the same flight time.
But it's body clock. Like you're the person who is the Mr. West Coast team coming east at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm not saying there's not a part of it, but I'm saying we're already dealing with it. So it's not the travel is still it's the West teams going all the way to the Europe. That's the big issue at the moment. But
And that's exactly what I was just talking about. But okay.
I'm just saying we already deal with long flights. I love it. More international games.
Every single game is international. No one has a home game anymore.
But
Probably.
how about we stop talking about what's happening next year, and we still have one game left this year, and break down this big game, Super Bowl, Super Bowl, whatever we want to call it.
Why didn't you just put redacted preview on that instead of Super Bowl preview? Because I mean, now we're really in trouble.
Next year.
Oh, okay, got it. He was too lazy to change it this year, so that's all it is.
Dude, we sat here before this podcast for 30 minutes talking about what we're going to talk about and getting all the things worked out. You didn't mention that one time while I made the bumper. Do not call me
George
lazy.
sucks.
The Super Bowl is between the San Francisco 49ers, who are 2-point favorites against the considered home team, but it doesn't really matter, Kansas City Chiefs. Over under on the game, 47.5. I guess let's just start breaking down how you think this game's going to go, and maybe we'll talk a couple of bets you might like or might have put a couple of bucks on so far this week.
Well, first off, just to bring it back to plane flights, if Taylor Swift can make it from Tokyo to Las Vegas in time, then
I'm
I
leaving.
don't want to hear about NFL teams.
It's been real.
But no, this would be a good game. And for me, if you're watching on YouTube, Tyler legit turned off his camera, which I think is hilarious. But speaking of the game, for me, the big thing is a little surprised the 49ers are favorite after back-to-back playoff games where they had to have second half comebacks. It seemed, and maybe they'll finally get it together. But it's just, that's the thing for me. Can the 49ers stay ahead in this game? Can they, if they get down, do they have to come back again? How big's that deficit if it does happen? And if they do come back from another double-digit lead, you can just say this team was the team of destiny, because that'd be 3 straight games.
I didn't see it happening 2 times, let alone 3. And if you're looking at it, like, the Packers were a very solid team this year, not really a defense that completely scares you. The Lions were a fantastic team this year, not a team that really scares you, like a defense that really scares you. The Chiefs are a great team this year, and they're a defense that is probably top 3 in the NFL right now. So I think if the 49ers get down in this one, they have a lot more to deal with than they did the last 2 weeks.
No, I'm with you, and I think this game will more resemble the AFC Championship game than the NFC Championship game. A little bit low scoring, a little bit lower. So maybe you're taking the unders. Maybe you're, and I think I saw some random fact. Hopefully, this isn't Tyler's oddball fact later in the show, but like the last
oddball fact. Oh God,
this guy.
The last 3 CBS Super Bowls, which take this with a grain of salt, have all been blowouts. So I think that curse also gets broken this week.
I mean, if they're going to score a couple of points, and it's going to be close regardless. Maybe we'll get like the Rams Patriots Super Bowl from a few years back, where it ended like 13-6, and the punter should have been the MVP, but they didn't even consider it, which was just rude. I don't think it's going to be quite that bad. There's too many talented offensive players on either side of the ball. And like, I would say, the Chiefs offense, I don't really see them coming and showing up, but for whatever reason, Patrick Mahomes just steps it up in the playoffs. They've finally had some consistent targets from Rashee Rice. We saw Travis Kelce starting to get it back together after a rough regular season. First time he hasn't hit 1,000 yards in forever. Their running game has been getting it together. Like, I don't see them scoring a ton of points, and I think we'll see that, and we spend Tyler's money in a bit. But the defenses are very good, and the offense are going to find a couple of points, but it's going to be lower scoring. I could see something in like 20-14, something like that.
And you mentioned Travis Kelce. The 49ers are the best team in the league in taking away the middle of the field. And that's where he dominates. So they're really going to need those guys like a Rashee Rice on the outside. I know they activated Sky Moore off of IR. Maybe he can come in and score a touchdown in back-to-back Super Bowls. Maybe a guy like Justin Watson makes a big play, or MVS gets deep once. Like, they're going to need their auxiliary pieces to really step up against this game. And if the 49ers have a chance, I think they have to keep doing what they've been doing all season and relying on Christian McCaffrey. And maybe if the 49ers do pull this one out and get the victory, we see Christian McCaffrey didn't get the NFL MVP, but maybe he can at least get the Super Bowl MVP, because if they're going to win, I think he has a big day.
Nah, MVP is going to go to a quarterback just because it literally always does. It's frustrating.
Super Bowl's a little bit more flexible.
No, it's not. Just look back. It's not. Like, it's still almost like 99% of the time a quarterback.
Well, it's still most of the time, but I feel like there's been more.
Malcolm Butler at one time.
He didn't even win it that year.
He didn't win it. It was Brady. It should have been him.
Yeah, but he got the truck.
Because Brady said, "Oh yeah, I realized you bailed me out because I sucked. Here, have a truck."
I don't think that's what he said, but
no, but it was basically that.
So 2 years ago it's Cooper Kupp, and then 5 years ago it was Julian Edelman, and then what is that? Super Bowl 50 was Von Miller. Then 2 years for that was Malcolm Smith. So like that's the last 10 years you have 4 non-quarterbacks. It's a lot better than the regular MVP. It's still not great, but it's better than the regular MVP.
So we're talking like professionals. Like you turn on ESPN, it's like, well, if this team wants to win, I'm just going to cut to the chase, act like a real Couch GM here for a second. This game sucks. Why did the Chiefs have to make it again? Who wanted the Chiefs here? Nobody.
No.
I feel like I haven't heard a single person that's like, dude, can't wait for this Super Bowl. I am hyped. Like you look for it for the betting. You got the Swifties are coming out in numbers to see if she makes it in time. You got, I mean, there's probably a stray Usher fan from, the early 2000s that wants to see the halftime show, but nobody's really excited about this game that I've heard. And it's disappointing. Anytime the same team wins it over and over and over and over again, or even if they just make it over and over again, it really just kills things. It makes it a lot less interesting, a lot less exciting. And I mean, we saw it in baseball with the Astros continuing to win. Nobody wants to see them there. We've seen it in NASCAR with Jimmy Johnson winning every single year. I mean, heck, we see it in WWE. Roman Reigns has been world champion for like 15 years now. Nobody wants to see that anymore. Got to change it up, man. Hopefully the Chiefs don't make it next year. Scriptwriters, please write them out of it this time.
Well, the Chiefs have won, so they've gotten a lot of heat for it, but like the 49ers have been there on the doorstep, a team in the Final Four like the last 4 years. They were in the Super Bowl 4 years ago. Then I think they took a year gap, and then they've been in 3 straight NFC Championship games. So like they've also been a team that's been there. So it's hasn't been anything fresh or new or I mean I'm not like I said, I'm with you. I have not been super excited for this game. I wasn't excited for the Final Four. Like all the teams I wanted got out in the wild card or divisional round of the playoffs, which I was hoping for. But it's been fun, and hopefully we get some new teams next year.
So what exactly is the hatred for the 49ers being here? Is it because they've been so close? Because I mean, if you look at them,
Dude, I
they
can't stand
haven't
the 49ers.
won. I can't stand the
Personally.
49ers because of the Eagles rivalry. Cody can't stand it because of the Packers and the, but like outside of the biases of that, like they haven't actually won a Super Bowl since 1994. They were in a couple of Super Bowls since 2012, 2019, 2023 now this year. But like it's not like they're the team that's constantly up there in the Super Bowl every single year, winning multiple.
Well,
like what is it that people don't like about them that's not biases that like in my head is like I just can't stand them because they're cocky and we have that rivalry with the Eagles.
They have a long history in the NFL. If they win this Super Bowl, they'll be tied for most Super Bowls by any franchise of all time, tying the Patriots. Like I mentioned, they've been there at least in the NFC Championship game for the last 5 years. And they're a team that everybody, like, maybe it's not true, but from my perception, it's a team that nobody thinks, like, every time you talk about the 49ers, like, yeah, well, any team, if they have George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, like, in that defense, they can do it. Like, they traded for Chase Young. Like, it's like the team that keeps trying to buy a championship and it hasn't worked. And
the Dodgers.
Right.
Of like the MLB.
The Dodgers are a great comparison. Tyler, I think you cut out if you were saying something.
I said the Eagles last year.
Just throwing jabs.
Damn.
It's true. Eagles last year were like, hey, we have a slight need at a defensive line. Let's just go get Ndamukong Suh real quick. Oh, wait, we have this slight need. Let's go get they went out and bought everybody.
They bought free agents that no one else wanted. At least give them that credit. Not trading for Chase Young and buying Christian McCaffrey last year. Like,
And I also think there's a lot of hatred for the 49ers from a lot of fan bases. Not that they have a rivalry, but how they traded 3 first-round picks for a quarterback, and then that failed miserably, and they lucked into Mr. Irrelevant being a good enough game manager. Maybe he's a step above game manager, but he has all those pieces around him that he makes it work. Like Jimmy G got this team to the 40. Like no one thinks Jimmy G is like the greatest quarterback ever. So Kyle Shanahan's a really good play caller, and I think that they're just tired of seeing the 49ers. Or they want new, like, who's the guy that you're rooting for on the 49ers? Like normally in every Super Bowl that you can think of, you have a guy that you're rooting for, whether it was last year and Jason Kelsey, or Patrick Mahomes when he was up and coming, or Joe Burrow. Like a lot of people got behind him with the Bengals. Cooper Kupp. Like there's always been like that star player. Maybe it's Christian McCaffrey for a lot of people, but like there isn't. I don't feel like that guy that like is just loved by everybody in the league. Where a lot of teams have had that in recent years.
In my opinion, like the whole 49ers team is that guy to me. Like, yes, the franchise got lucky. Yes, the franchise has had great success. But if I look at the individual players, that's why I like the 49ers. I like Christian McCaffrey a lot. I mean, the kid's good. The kid's really good. He's exciting to watch. I mean, he's unbelievable. But then George Kittle, I feel like, has all the talent of a great tight end. He's fun to watch. He's funny, but he's not quite as cocky as Travis Kelce. Brock Purdy, yes, he's might just be a game manager. Maybe he's just Mr. Irrelevant who's good enough to lead a good team, but he's still a low round draft pick who is performing above expectations. And even when he is behind a game in a second half, or even when Debo does go down, he's still performing enough to get them the wins. And you have to commend him on that. Debo Samuel, I feel like
are going off face masks.
Debo Samuel is another one who's like a super exciting player, super good, but I don't feel like I hear him talking much. Like I see other big number one wide receivers on other teams run their mouth constantly about how great they are. You can't cover me. Like Debo, I feel like he just goes out there, does his job, and that's it.
Debo talks quite a bit. You just probably don't hear it because it's not as loud as some other people.
I don't hear it at all.
I hear it, but that's probably because 3/4 of his jabs are at the Eagles for no reason.
Well, I guess that's why I hear every AJ Brown comment, because all of them are at the Titans for no reason.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably exactly what it is. Like when it's at a team that you follow more closely, you hear it all the time. But like I've seen 4 separate things in the last 2 weeks of Debo jabbing at the Eagles. We've been gone for 4 weeks. Like,
but I feel like there's so many people on the 49ers that I want to root for. I want them to win. I don't want the team to win. I want those players to win. George Kittle being a huge one. I think he was pivotal in the tight end movement over the last few years. But
I think he was the creator of tight end U. So
Brock Purdy is super exciting. I mean, he's just this nothing player who walked on and like is performing above expectations. That's who I thought Patrick Mahomes was. Like, I know, don't get me wrong, it's a different situation. Mahomes is a first round pick. Was supposed to be great, but he sat for a year. He came in, not a whole lot of people really thought he was going to turn into a great quarterback. And when he started performing, everybody was excited. Everyone was rooting for him. Now, I think Mahomes has become arguably the most cocky player in the NFL. Watching Quarterback on Netflix, not a sponsor, completely opened my eyes to he's even more cocky than I thought he was. All he does is go to his parties like, oh yeah, they thought they could hold me down, but obviously I'm so great. Of course I came back. Like the dude is just so full of himself. He eats, sleeps, and drinks Mahomes all day long. It's disgusting. I don't see that from Brock Purdy. I know he's in a different part of his career. I don't see that from anybody on the 49ers, really.
Interesting take.
I am the hot takes guy. That's what I'm here for.
I wouldn't call it a hot take.
no.
It's a different perspective of looking at it. I guess, like, I don't know. Yeah, there's probably some bias like George and I have against the 49ers. Mm-hmm. Like, we haven't beaten them the last 5 times in the playoffs. Like, so they're like our nemesis when it comes to playoff football. And I'm okay to admit that I don't want them to win. I think, and I just don't like the 49ers. So there is some bias in my picks, but there's just something about how the team was constructed. I feel like not everybody on the team, like you mentioned, George Kittle, is probably underrated still as a tight end for what he can do in both the pass game and blocking. Trent Williams is one of the best to ever play at left tackle. Like, so there, and Chris McCaffrey, again, super good. But there's just like a lot of pieces, like, I feel like that are overhyped. Like,
root for Juicy J. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, Juicy, another fun guy. Like, I get what you're saying. There's a lot of pieces. Maybe it's like my also like disinterest in John Lynch. Maybe it goes all the way to front office people. And I know that's a weird person
Who
to pick.
cares about front office people?
But like, I feel like he's overrated as a GM. Like, Kyle Shanahan's really good. Like, I'll give him that. I don't know. There's just something about it the 49ers has rubbed me the wrong way, and I can't let it go.
Yeah, I think it's just a bias you have. That's what it sounds like to me. Because, I mean, also, like, if you think about it, like, yeah, you want to be mad at the 49ers because they traded for Christian McCaffrey, they traded for Chase Young. But, like, outside of free agent signings, trading's usually not up to the person getting traded for. They might have some say, but, like, it wasn't Christian McCaffrey's decision to get traded or to get traded to the 49ers. So I'm not going to hold that against him. It wasn't Chase Young's decision to go to the 49ers. So I'm not going to hold that against him.
I'm not holding.
He's not holding it against the player. He's holding it against, like, he's trying to be like, oh no,
It's-
they're the team buying, like we were talking about with the Dodgers thing.
It's the
It
same
wasn't
thing-
I
against
hear that.
McCaffrey, it was against the team.
Before
Everybody
y'all jump
hated the
down my
Patriots.
damn throat,
Always.
that's what I was trying to say is don't root for the team, root for the players. Because if they both suck, like I know you have a hatred towards the 49ers, but you can't tell me you honestly want the Chiefs to win again over the 49ers.
I would rather the Chiefs win. 100%.
I would rather the 49ers win. I'm on that side. I just
Ugh.
would rather they both lose.
Why? Like, please tell me what it is about the Chiefs that you love so much more than the 49ers. I
So what I will say about the Chiefs, the one thing I think I get what you're saying. People are tired of them being here, but I think it is not being appreciated enough is how much they have changed their team to still be competitive. The fact that they went from an offensive powerhouse to now a defensive powerhouse. Yes, they still have Patrick Mahomes, who might go down as the best quarterback to ever play. Like, that's cool. They still have Travis Kelce, but they're still making guys like Justin Watson, Sky Moore, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I mean, that's a guy that I'll just root for him, former Packer player, if I want to see, root for a player. But how they've changed their team, whether it's Andy Reid, they've gone through so many they've lost coaches. Like, their consistency is worth, points. And you compared it to a lot of other sports. I never had a problem with how Golden State won all their championships. Like, it didn't bother me at all. Like, so maybe that's just, we see it a little bit differently. Like, I think it's also super impressive and, rare of what we're getting to watch. So just trying to be, not to sound like too serious about a game of football, but like realizing where we are and how great this Chiefs run has been and really trying to appreciate that for what it is. Like, that's why, like, I'm not rooting for either team. Like, let's make that clear. But I would rather the 49ers win or the Chiefs win than the 49ers.
Devil's advocate, I have to come in. I'm sorry, but yeah, the Chiefs are so great. They changed their team to keep winning. It's really commendable. A few years ago, all we talked about was a 49ers defense. That's it. Wasn't that long ago that we were like, 49ers defense is unstoppable. I just don't know if they have the offensive pieces to really be a dominant team. And now we're looking at it like, I don't know how you stop this 49ers offense. I don't know how you stop it. Their offense is now debatably scarier than their defense, which is, again, changing the team. And yes, they went out and traded for some people. I agree. But they drafted Debo. They drafted Kittle. They drafted Ayuk. They drafted most of these players. It's not just that they went out and traded for everybody. They had traded for two big-name people. And just because the Chiefs weren't willing to give up that draft capital doesn't mean that they're any more special. Both teams are changing their teams to be better. And yes, the Chiefs might have went out there and made Sky Moore and Marquez Valdez-Scantling look good, but the Packers made Marquez Valdez-Scantling look good. We haven't seen Sky Moore with anybody else to even debate that. And Deebo Samuel goes down, and Juwan Jennings all of a sudden looks like an amazing receiver, this top-line guy. Are we saying that he's really that talented, or did the 49ers make a no-name receiver look good like the Chiefs do? And they did it with a lesser quarterback. So I feel like everything you're saying about the Chiefs, you could say about the 49ers as well. This year, they were just able to do it with less injuries.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the 49ers have changed. Like their defense is still elite, like it was 4 years ago. Their offense has just started to catch up. And I think, I get what you're saying, but when it comes to like the Chiefs, like it was, they have to score 40 points to win. Now it's like, yeah, we don't care if Patrick Mahomes scores 3 touchdowns. Like that's such a drastic difference.
So the other thing that I wanted to point out that you said was like we're like appreciating the history of what's happening and how rare it is to see that. Where were you at the end of the Tom Brady run? Were you saying the same exact thing about Tom Brady? I don't think you were. Is the fact that we're coming from one of these runs to another one makes it seem like it's less of a big deal, and it's like, oh, it's something that's always going to happen. It's always going to be one evil team that everyone's trying to beat, and they're going to be the team everyone's going to hate.
And
That's
is
the
it
Chiefs now.
special?
It was the Patriots before. Turned out it was just Tom Brady and ended up being the Buccaneers for that little stretch. But like, I don't know if it's
No,
as special as
it
you're making it
was
sound.
Peyton Manning went on the downswing of his career and still ended up winning a Super Bowl. You had Tom Brady on the downswing of his career, still going to the Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers on the downswing of his career, winning 2 MVPs. And now you have Mahomes, who has a lesser team, is still doing amazing. This isn't rare. This is an every year thing.
I mean, what is it now? 4 Super Bowls in 5 years.
And Tom Brady did it twice in our lifetimes. Like I'm saying, if you're going to point to that, it's
Tom
still
Brady
not
never
as
did
rare
4
as you're
Super
making
Bowls
it
in 5
sound.
years.
He
They
did it he did it early in his career. I'm pretty sure.
He did 3 and 4, and then he went like 10 years without making the Super Bowl.
And then I think did it again, if I'm not mistaken.
The fact that Patrick Mahomes has never not made an AFC Championship game, and the Chiefs, since he's took over, hasn't, like that level of consistency. And I get what you're saying, but I appreciate the players on the Chiefs more than I did the Patriots. Like I was never a big Tom Brady fan. I'm never going to be a big Brock Purdy fan. I love Patrick Mahomes. Yes, I think that what you're talking about with quarterback, I can see what you're saying. I see that, but it's also like I'd probably be the same way if I was that good. Like if I was elite, 1 of 1, yeah, there's probably definitely going to be some cockiness there, and it's rightfully earned. So
Cody's that cocky, and he's not even that good. I've seen his stare in flag football.
Exactly.
But also, like, okay, awesome. He could make yet another Super Bowl. He's never missed an AFC Championship game. Is that really more amazing for him, or is it more just ruining the game of football in general? Because I can tell you, having the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game every single year has made me care less and less about football every year. I think it is killing the sport. All those years of the Astros just winning and the Dodgers winning every single year killed the sport. I watched NASCAR with my dad every single year up until Jimmy Johnson won 5 in a row, and I was like, I'm done. I can't. This is it's not worth watching. I loved watching WWE. I know it's fake, but I loved watching it until Roman Reigns won every single year. Ruined it for me. And I feel like the game of football is now being ruined. And they can keep up with the gimmicks with Taylor Swift or sending them to whatever country they want to do or putting it with special primetime games with different networks. I don't care. The fact that it's the same team over and over and over again is killing the sport. It makes me not want to watch next year because it's like, who cares? It's just going to be the Chiefs again.
I think,
and I don't know why I would ever want to root for that.
yeah, and I think that's where we differ, and that's probably like I don't think for me it's ruining the sport. Like I wouldn't say the same team winning. The same thing, like I said, with as I'm more of a basketball fan as my second sport. Like it didn't bother me with the Warriors. It didn't. I hated it. I didn't because I didn't like the Patriots, but it didn't like ruin the sport for me. And they're still seeing record-breaking numbers in audience every year. So maybe it's ruining it for you, but they're getting 3 new fans every day. And it sucks that it would be ruining it for some fans. And I'm sure you're not alone in that statement of, you're tired of seeing it. And we all want to see new teams. And remember, I started this out by saying I didn't want any of the Final Four teams. All the teams I were rooting for lost in the divisional and the wild card round. So I'm not happy with the Super Bowl. Like I don't want it to be like I've been cheering for the Chiefs more, but when it comes to these two teams, I would rather see the Chiefs win.
Gross.
All right, guys, that was a really good debate, and that's a little off what we usually do in our format. So I'm interested to see if you guys liked it. Let us know. I like getting a little debate in here now and again. I was gonna talk about other bets we like, but we took plenty of time talking about other stuff. So make sure you go on wherever you bet. DraftKings, I know, has a lot of cool features, like you can bet what's going to be longer, the longest touchdown, the longest field goal, that kind of stuff. So you go check it out. See what
Not a
kind of cool
sponsor.
things you can
Don't
waste your
tip
money
me.
on. But we need to give us official score prediction before we jump out of this segment. So, okay, we'll start off with Cody. What is your official score prediction for the Super Bowl?
Oh, I didn't have an actual number. Give me 49ers 23-17.
Okay. Tyler.
27-23 Chiefs.
And I have 24-17 Chiefs. So
No one breaks 30. Low scoring game.
no one breaks 30. I'm betting some unders. But we might bet some other unders here as we're bringing back one of our favorite segments. Why don't we go ahead and spend Tyler's money?
Cha-ching!
That music does not go with the ching at all, but I love that bumper.
It's so good. I like how we have 2 Tyler segments in a typical episode, and both of them are the 2 that have the special bumper music. It fits Tyler's personality to a T also. But Super Bowl parlay, and we said we could do a lot of fun things. So we have a very interesting things you normally can't bet in a same game parlay going on here. First bet on here is Cody. What did you put into our parlay?
I'm just saying the things you can't normally bet in a same game parlay.
Yep.
Props
Also,
to you for getting that out.
The thing I bet, I put in almost every one of my parlays, so you definitely can bet it.
Well, the other 2, I don't think you can put into a normal parlay, but yours you can.
But
it's fine. Go ahead.
my bet that I'm spending Tyler's money on first leg, I mentioned it. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to try to feature Travis Kelce, but the 49ers are the best team at taking away the middle of the field. So I'm going to go with their all-star, all-pro linebacker, Fred Warner, and say that he has over 5.5 tackles.
I have, going with the low scoring game, I have total touchdowns in the game under 5.5. So a lot of 5.
What was your score prediction?
24-17. That's 5.
So 5. I was just
5.
curious.
Yeah, I have 5 touchdowns.
And I think the game is going to start hot, and the second half is going to not fall flat, but I think it's going to be a little bit more close defensive. So I am going with the first half to be the highest scoring half.
With how Chiefs games have been going lately, I think that's actually a very good bet. I like it.
No, I like it. Both teams scores first. The jitters get out. Then it's a low-scoring slugfest, field position battle the rest of the game.
Yes, it is. Cody, it's 200th episode. I think you have something a little bit special for us. So why don't you go ahead and hit your little special video? Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Couch GMs podcast, the very first episode. I am your host, George Kerth, along with the 2 best friends that anyone could have, Tyler Snyder.
What's going on, guys?
And Cody Roadcap.
How's it going? You guys are probably wondering what is. Yeah,
It sounded like I was 12.
Yeah, that's crazy. That was 200 episodes ago. And the only thing that's still not true about that intro is I don't like George anymore, so we're not the 3 best friends.
You never liked me.
I stopped showing up on the podcast because Cody was here, so it's fine.
It is true. If you go back, he never likes it when I'm here.
Every episode that Cody couldn't be here, I was here.
100% true. This season especially, but it's interesting how something that can bring us together so much can also rip us apart. Not actually, but kind of.
I'm getting Cody a Packers Chiefs shirt for Christmas next year.
Bro, you do not listen to anything.
I'll give you the template for the Eagles Chargers shirt, and you can say it's complicated.
Nice. Perfect.
Okay, so that was, if you are new here, this is episode 200, and that was just a little quick back to before we did video. back at episode 1 when we were trying to figure it out. Didn't really know what we were doing, and I don't think we've quite figured out what we're doing. We're still changing things on the fly, messing around, but I think this is just a quick little reminiscent. If anybody wants to talk about their favorite moment, favorite thing that happened over the last 200 episodes, the floor is yours.
First off, I don't want us to ever get it together. I've said over the years, we discuss this every off season. I mean, heck, every couple of months we usually get together and we're like, how can we make this podcast better? Which is why we always reach out to you guys, the fans, and say if there's anything you'd like to hear, anything you'd like us to change, like we are all ears. We want to make this the best podcast for you. And I don't want it to sound scripted. I don't want it to sound like every other show. I don't want it to sound like you turned on ESPN and here we are. Well, if they get this many yards and this many yards per game, then I don't care. We are Couch GMs. We are fans just like you guys out there. All of us are Couch GMs. Couch general managers, the people that sit on the couch and they're like, I don't know why they're doing that. Because if I was the GM, I would have just done this. And we feel like we know better. And that's why I'm the hot takes guy. That's why I say some things that make absolutely no sense, but I will fight it to the end. And I hope we don't change. I hope we stay like that. I hope we stay conversational. I hope we stay casual. I hope we stay Couch GMs forever.
I'm sure we will, because if we haven't gotten it together in 200 episodes, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. But I will say, I do think, even though we still sound like a mess to a sense and unscripted and whatever, which is exactly what we're going for, I still think we sound better on the mic than we did in episode 1.
That's because we have microphones.
Not even that. But yes, you're right. That's great. Hopefully it makes my voice sound like I'm 16 instead of 12. It's never going to sound like I'm actually an adult because that's just how my voice is. But at least like we could put together a sentence about 50% of the time, at least maybe for me 40. But back then it was probably 25% if you're lucky.
Dude, am I still at 25%? Like,
yeah, you're right. I'm giving Cody too much credit.
Yeah.
He was probably about 10% of the time back then. Tyler, you have really good thoughts and you can string things together. You just say some outrageous things, which is your gig, and it's fine.
What is your favorite hot take of all time? Do you have one? That is super on the spot.
That is so
Sam Darnold winning this Super Bowl, man.
Oh, my favorite hot take. I don't even know.
Mine's George Alexander Madison 2000 rushing yards.
It was
like out of nowhere. He's just like, Alexander Madison, 2,000 rushing yards. Like I wasn't on that episode, and I was listening to the car, and I almost crashed into the barrier.
It was a bold predictions episode where we were trying to give the boldest of predictions. Like
we were reading the most outrageous things on the internet, and you took that out of it.
You can't judge us when you weren't even there. Show up to the podcast, Cody.
Look, we are doing episode again next year, and we are going to rip Cody every time he says something even remotely.
No, because he's going to be like, this is my hot take. Ready for this? Patrick Mahomes is going to be a top 5 passer this year. Like, hot take, Cody, crazy. Like, it's going to be something like that.
Did he finish top 5? Would that even have been a correct?
Cody, that's not the point.
Sorry, that's how my brain works.
That's what I'm saying. He'll be like, it is a hot take because last year he finished 7th in the NFL in passing. So it's an like, Cody sucks.
All right, I do suck. I'll share another memory. Last year, I think it was with the Super Bowl preview. We like to do drafts. We did drafts on the best Super Bowl party foods. And my guy on the bottom of the screen, if you're watching on YouTube, took barbecue chicken in the first round. And then what was it? Candy in the last round.
Yep.
And then got mad at me for a 4th round meat and cheese tray and still won't let me live that down.
Do you want to know what's even funnier? I ended up having a Super Bowl party that year. It was last year. Basically only Tyler and his wife came over. And I proceeded to make him barbecue chicken.
Yeah, and it was awesome. It was delicious. It was so good. Yeah, let me tell you, I also went to a playoff watch party at George's house, and I walked in, and there was no meat and cheese tray, so I was out.
Needless to say, yeah, he turned around and walked out. There has been a meat and cheese tray at every single one of our big gatherings ever since, just because Tyler said that.
Yeah, and guess what? When the party's over and the barbecue chicken, there's nothing left of it, but the meat and cheese tray is still completely full with warm cheese. Oh, shocking. Not an awesome party food. Stupid.
He gets so mad.
I do.
It's almost
That's
like
what
his
I'm here
Jared
for.
Goff and Matt Stafford take.
That was the best take ever. That wasn't even a hot take. That was just correct. Jared Goff is better than Matt Stafford.
That is so not correct, but it's okay.
Why? Because of all of his amazing years with the Lions? They were so good. Oh, man.
We do not have the time, nor do I have the energy to get this debate started again. I shouldn't even have brought it up. I know we're talking about what we've said the last 200 episodes.
Look,
that
this
one
is what I'm
should
here
have-
for. This is why I'm on the podcast. I bring the hot takes. I bring the energy. I bring
And
the
the
anger.
$5.
This is
And
why
the
my
$5.
and the $5. That is why my character on our logo is so angry, because that's me, and I get angry about football, especially with you guys. Our 2-hour-long car rides where Cody's just like, "Do you think JJ Watt's the best defensive player to ever live?" And he does it just to piss me off, and it works. And I know he's doing it, and I get mad anyway. That's what I'm here for.
He does it to me too. It's just his personality. It's funny because like my character being sad, that's me a lot of times. Tyler being super angry, yeah, that's pretty accurate. Cody, that right there is
Not
more
accurate.
emotion than I've ever seen Cody
I
give
was
in real
thinking
life
that-
ever.
I was like, I've never actually paid too much attention to it, but you started pointing. I'm like, I don't know if I put my hands up at a football game since we took this picture that we used as a reference.
Literally, that's more emotion than Cody's ever given in his entire life, and it's all poured into the logo that is very realistic. Other than that,
It's poured into this podcast because
No,
I care
this is
so
like-
much about the Vans.
I could text Cody when the Packers are winning 49-0, and he'll be like, "Yeah, dude, they're good. This is just the way they should be playing. I'm not even excited because this is the way they should be playing every week because this is how good they are." And then I'll text him the next week when they're losing 49-0, and he'll be like, "Yeah, man, Packers are bad. I don't know what you want from me. They've been trash all year. They just don't have a line. They don't have receivers. They don't have they're bad. I mean, I expected this. I'm not mad about it. It's no emotion. Doesn't care.
Yeah, sounds
Doesn't
all right.
care." I've
That's-
also seen Cody be like, "Oh my God, I'm sweating this so much. This is so crazy. I'm like so nervous right now." And I've also watched games with Cody in high intensity moments where he's just like,
Dude, it's because my
I'm
heart's
nervous.
literally about to explode.
"The fuck?"
Like
I
I've
thought
had-
it was the equivalent of like you type LOL as you're basically half asleep laying in bed, and it's like, yeah, no, you're definitely not laughing.
I get in an intense game. I am pacing back and forth. I am yelling. I am hitting things. My dog's getting anxiety. My wife is shaking. Like, "Can you sit down?" Like it's
Your wife
It's
has literally
intense.
texted me being like, I don't know if I want to be here right now. He's a little much at the moment.
yeah, I'm a lot much.
It's because I have a sitting heart rate of 180, which is not good at all. So I can't get up and move around. It'll probably explode.
Maybe Cody will do
I
a little
should
bit
see
more
a doctor.
cardio before episode 300. Get that
Whoa.
resting heart rate down.
Hold up. Did you just make a fat joke?
Dude, we're
No,
all fat.
I
Just
made a
don't
heart
touch
rate
it.
joke.
You
right.
said Cody needs to do more cardio.
No, I said maybe Cody will do more cardio before episode 300 so he doesn't have his heart explode.
I never
I'm
liked
trying to
him.
help you live, man.
All right, guys, we're gonna place some bets on the next episode. Who is going to die first? Cody is sitting at a -150 because of that heart rate. I'm sitting at a -125 because of my blood pressure. George has George luck, so he's sitting at a +400. Yeah, go ahead and bet on who's going to die first. Let's start a Deadpool.
I like Deadpool. It's a good movie.
Wow. Okay. Yep. George is still making the dad jokes. Yep. Nothing's changed basically in
Nothing will.
Nope.
200 episodes. I know we have to get to Tyler's oddball fact, but we were talking about the fans and everyone's couch GMs. And I just wanted to thank the fans for listening for 200 episodes, and hopefully there's 200 more. And then I wanted to give a special shout out to this fan on the internet that I have no recollection or relationship to, but this is the most couch GMs thing ever. When the Packers fired Joe Barry as their defensive coordinator, this fan sent his resume and like a cover letter to President Mark Murphy on why he should be the next defensive coordinator. Obviously, he wasn't selected, but he got a handwritten letter back from the president of the Packers, and then did direct him to maybe reach out to the Chicago Bears. So maybe that was how good his qualifications were. So, that's incredible. That is good fan mail, and not the hate mail that we see way too often. So shout out to that Couch GMs fan for trying to make it off the couch and onto the sidelines.
Shoot your shot, man. Shoot your shot.
That's fantastic.
Oddball
Some
fact?
things.
Got it.
Yep.
Oh, George, I didn't mean to cut you off. That music was so like brought down the mood after. We got to change that.
No, I still need a bubble pipe. I still need to come back with the jacket on by the fireplace with a bubble
Maybe
pipe.
episode 300. I'll do
Maybe.
cardio. You'll find a bubble pipe.
Somebody out there, buy me a bubble pipe on Amazon. Send it. I'll give you my address on direct
George
chat.
will grow facial hair.
George will grow facial hair.
That'd be the patchiest beard you guys have ever seen. But if fans want it, I got you.
The fans want it. The fans definitely want it. So before I jump into this oddball fact, please let us know if you have any ideas for next season you want to hear. If you want to hear our significant others have that podcast of hottest NFL coaches, that is still an option. If you want to see George try to grow facial hair, that is
my wife has Matt LaFleur earrings.
That's gross. Why?
I'll tell her to wear them on Sunday. We're watching the Super Bowl together. That should be fun.
Yeah.
It's going to get really heated because Cody's a big Chiefs fan and nobody else likes the Chiefs. So
fan. I literally
Cody's going to show up in his Mahomes jersey. Like,
yep. Just say your fact so we can get out of here.
Sorry.
Cody's fed up with it. He's like, this is why Tyler's on the episodes.
Yeah, stop being like, where are you, Tyler?
What days can't you do next year? We're doing podcast every day that day.
I graduate next month, so no more schoolwork. I'll be here, Cody, just to torment you.
All right.
Congrats, by the way. Just public congrats on that.
Thanks. I didn't pass yet. Let's not say anything. But
he did fail math in high school.
Whatever day we're filming next year, I'm busy. So I thought it was interesting with these other networks getting exclusive rights to playoff games and everything else that CBS in 1962 was the first broadcast station to get exclusive rights to NFL games, and they paid $4.6 million. It is now well over $1 billion to get exclusive rights for NFL games in this day and age. But they got it for $4.65 million in 1962.
What a steal. What a
steal. I guarantee you the contract has gone up since then.
Yeah, I think just the
trying to find inflation, sorry.
Well, I think just the Peacock game alone for the play was $110 million just for that game. So that's a great fact. George, did you find anything?
Yeah, so it's approximately 10% inflation. So it's what, $46 million? If you just translate that to today, that is a huge deal. You're right.
That is a great deal. It's a steal.
I mean, just ending the show with some math. I think that's what everyone is.
I'm just proud I actually figured out math.
It'll cost like $1 million to get exclusive rights because nobody's going to care anymore. Except Cody, who's a huge Chiefs fan.
Exactly. Go Chiefs.
I'm so glad that Cody's now got that on there. Just like my one time liking Cole Kmet has now made me a Cole Kmet fan with a Bears shot glass sitting back here. Yeah.
I'm impressed that you were able to grab that in reverse. Like that was.
I almost knocked the helmet off of the cabinet, but at least the tape dispenser's safe. The tape dispenser's here to stay.
I would reach back and knock all my crock pots over. It'd be a whole thing.
I'm gonna grab the empty wall here.
Tyler's got all those crock pots there to make meat and cheese trays.
Who puts meat and cheese in a crock? I'm done. End the show. End the show.
All right. Well, thanks for listening to episode 200 of the Couch GMs podcast. If you're having a Super Bowl party, have a ton of fun, stay safe, and don't put your meat and cheese tray in the crock pot. There's a lot of other great dips and all that. Let us know in the comments what you're having, who you think is going to win, which prediction is right, and all that good stuff. Just to recap, we'll be back early next week. Then we're going to do a little bit of a break, and we're going to pick up right after the NFL Combine. That is the plan. For now, I'm Cody Roadcap. That's George Kerth, and we'll talk to you all next week.